Jeffrey Epstein's list of powerful friends never fails to shock. And among the most powerful of all, former President Bill Clinton, pictured in a jacuzzi, swimming pool, and on a private plane. The Epstein files have no photographs of his wife Hillary Clinton with the billionaire paedophile. She does not think they ever met. But still, she was summoned first to take questions from US lawmakers investigating Epstein's crimes. The House Oversight Committee's Republican chair said there was no suggestion of wrongdoing by the Clintons, but he wanted answers about Epstein.
How did he accumulate so much wealth? How was he able to surround himself with some of the most powerful men in the world? Was he an asset for our government or any other government?
Hillary Clinton has admitted that she did know Ghislaine Maxwell, well enough that you can see here she attended her daughter Chelsea's wedding. But she released an opening statement on social media saying she had no idea about Epstein's criminal activities, adding, "I never flew on his plane or visited his island." She said if this committee is serious about learning the truth, it should ask Donald Trump directly, under oath, about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. It would not waste time on fishing expeditions. What is being held back, she asked, who is being protected, and why the cover-up? The deposition took place behind closed doors, with video expected later, but it was briefly disrupted when this photograph from inside was leaked to a conservative commentator. Speaking outside, committee Democrats said they were glad Hillary Clinton was taking questions, but agreed with her that there is a sense of a cover-up protecting others.
If the most powerful people in the United States of America, the elite and rich and powerful men and women, are able to get away with these heinous crimes, then we are sending a horrible message to young people in this country that powerful people will always protect themselves and the rule of law does not apply to everyone.
Questions are still being asked about Trump himself, who was once close to Epstein. The president says the files totally exonerate him, but there are reports that key material relating to a woman who made an accusation about the president could be missing. Lawmakers, like Congressman Johnny Olszewski, are trying to dig out information. He took up a Department of Justice offer to search the files without redactions and saw things blacked out that shouldn't have been.
Clearly protecting those who were involved and accused of terrible things.
And those are just the files that have been released. A Channel 4 News investigation suggests they could amount to only 2% of the total.
The extent to which our government continues to withhold these documents is incredibly disturbing and makes me think that it really feels that this is a cover-up worse than Watergate, which was the seminal moment in American politics.
And you say it's like Watergate. Is it going to bring down a president?
Again, I think if the potential crimes and the potential activities that are hinted at are actually chased down and found to be true, it absolutely will bring down this president, as it should bring down any president. I think if it's tracked down and found to be true, it will bring down cabinet secretaries, it will bring down a Supreme Court justice, it will bring down members of Congress. And that's how it should be.
President Trump has always denied wrongdoing, while the Department of Justice has made clear that being in the files does not imply guilt. There are no accusations against Bill Clinton, but his clear association with Jeffrey Epstein will be the subject of questions tomorrow as this scandal continues to unfold. Hillary and Bill Clinton are the first people to have been effectively forced to appear at a deposition, and you can hear in Hillary Clinton's statement that she has read out to lawmakers that she is absolutely furious about that. She thinks it is political. She has said to them, you've made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the files. And when one billionaire businessman, Lex Wexner, was questioned, Republicans didn't even turn up. She's talked about spending her life devoted to, women and girls, talking about meeting girls as young as 12 forced into prostitution, calling it a global scourge with an unimaginable human toll. And she has argued that if this is really about the survivors, then all the Epstein files should be out there. I mentioned in the piece that there's been reporting here from the New York Times and also from NPR suggesting that files relating to Donald Trump might be missing. But our own investigations show that the FBI discussed taking in way more files than we have seen. And that is why people feel that this could be a cover-up.
Thanks, Anushka. Well, I'm now joined by Doug Sosnick, who served as a senior advisor to President Bill Clinton for 6 years. Thank you for joining us. I guess America is so divided that people will divide on how they feel about this. But do you think Hillary Clinton can emerge from her questioning without her reputation damaged?
Well, I think the last person in the world I'd worry about is Hillary Clinton. There's absolutely no reason why she should be called in to testify. She's never met Epstein to her recollection. She's not in the files. This is all about politics. And the chairman of the committee, Mr. Comer, who's been the chairman now for 3 years, so he has a track record, has demonstrated that he's pretty much a backbenching, incompetent political hack on behalf of Trump. And so outside of the MAGA universe, I think the vast majority of people in this country see this for what it is. And I should just add quickly that The Economist came out with a poll this week in which 57% of the country disapproves of how the Trump administration has handled the Epstein matter, and that they believe 53%, which is a majority, believe that there's been a cover-up.
But she did know Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding. And that is an uncomfortably close association with a criminal.
Well, that first of all, that's accurate. And the reason that she was there, my understanding was that Hillary had a long-standing relationship with her boyfriend at the time. But that has nothing to do with what the chairman said on your piece before I came on about why he called her in to get to the bottom of a whole series of questions about Epstein and how he got his money, which is ridiculous, of course, because she never met the guy. And the last thing I'll add is Melania Trump, on the other hand, had a long-standing relationship with Epstein, long-standing relationship. And it shows you the absurdity and the politicization of this, that Hillary's being called, and of course, Melania is not.
Well, and of course, Trump. But I mean, the trouble for Hillary Clinton surely is that her whole political career, since she was First Lady, has been dogged by the behavior of her husband. And he gives evidence tomorrow. And there is much more evidence that he did have a relationship with Epstein. There are all those photos of him, that don't look good. Is it possible for Hillary Clinton not to be affected by the claims against Bill?
Well, first of all, I don't think there's a single person in the United States of America that doesn't have a strong opinion about Hillary Clinton at this point. So I think it's very unlikely that this or anything else is going to change that. But this is not about Hillary Clinton, and there's nothing that came out prior to the hearing or in the hearings so far that suggests in any shape or form that she had any dealings with Epstein. So this is not going to, I don't believe, impact her in any way.
Right, but what about the impact on Bill Clinton tomorrow when he gives evidence?
Yeah. Well, that's a different matter. And again, I think most people have a pretty strong opinion one way or the other about Bill Clinton already. And I can just sit here and tell you a couple things. As someone who worked for 6 years for President Clinton, and my office for the last 3 of those years was actually next to the Oval Office, and I went on almost all of his trips for 4 years. I never saw once Epstein either at an event, calling in, never discussed it with him. So I know at least when I was there as president, that Epstein had no dealings with Clinton. The matters that have been brought to attention subsequent were after Clinton had left office.